everybody. Thank you all for attending this webinar Wednesday. As always, my name is Thad Graham. I am the education specialist for the Family Services Victim Services Program. Today, you get to not hear my wonderful voice. You get to listen to our helpline advocate, as well as our LGBTQ plus specialist, Brittny Servello. Brittny, go ahead and say hi.
Hi, everyone.
So Brittny is going to present for us. At the end, if you have any questions, like always, please feel free to throw them in the chat, throw them in the question and answer section as well. I'll go ahead and monitor the chat and the questions for you. If you have anything, like I said, please feel free to put it in there. The handout section, there is a copy of the PowerPoint in handout in color form. So Brittny, it's all you.
All right, thanks for that introduction, Thad. Hi, everyone. As Thad said, I'm Brittny Servello. I am the helpline advocate here at Family Services, the Victim Services Program. So from 8:30 to 4:30, if clients give us a call, I'm the person that they're going to hear Monday through Friday. So what we're going to go ahead, we're going to start this here. Now, I do want to let you know, I let everyone know before we start, the information that is shared, it can definitely be triggering. If you need to take a moment and step away from the computer, we understand completely. Your mental health is what's important to us, and Thad always provides the link to our webinars, and they're actually going to be up on YouTube now under Family Services Incorporated, that to view at a time that's comfortable to you. So we're going to be talking about Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, but we're going to focus on the LGBTQ plus community. And we're going to dive right into the statistics and the difference in the LGBTQ plus community here. So we're going to compare the levels of abuse. So as you can tell here on your screens, that LGBTQ youth actually experience higher levels of abuse, whether it is physical abuse, which is 43% compared to 29% of heterosexual youth. Emotional abuse, it's actually 59%, which is insane, and then compared to the 46% of heterosexual youth. And then 37%, sorry about that, cyber phone abuse, and then 26% for heterosexual youth. And then sexual coercion, 23% for LGBTQ youth and 12% for heterosexual youth. So I do want to point out there are teens and youth that do not want to talk about what they're going through and everything, but LGBTQ youth are actually more willing to disclose when they are experiencing abuse, especially if they feel comfortable with, like a counselor, a teacher, if someone goes to a church youth group and stuff like that. And below, these are just texts and just different things that could be said, telling the family that you're gay if you're not out and stuff like that. They could threaten to out you if you do not have sex with them or if you aren't in a relationship with them. Talking about someone who could be trans and saying, if they identify as a female, but no one would ever believe that you were a female and stuff like that. Now, our next slide is talking about teen dating violence in the transgender community. The rates of abuse are astonishing. The 89% to have experienced physical dating violence, 61% being sexually coerced at some point, 59% had been emotionally abused, and 56 has suffered cyber and phone abuse or harassment. The numbers for the transgender community are always so shocking to me because these individuals and everybody, we're all coming into our own skin and everything. We're just trying to find someone to love us or have partners and stuff like that. And they are experiencing so much abuse, and at times they feel they have no one that they can turn to. Now, why don't teens talk to us? Why don't adults talk to us? Especially when it comes to the LGBTQ community, um, you know, they may feel that they don't have a support system or feels that their family may not support their gender identity or sexuality. They may feel shame or guilt. If you're raised um, in a certain religion your entire life and you're told, you're not going to be accepted, that God doesn't love you, they might not be ready to accept themselves. They can feel that a counselor or a teacher or even law enforcement may not believe them. Some people think, well, how can a female abuse another female, or men fighting? It's just normal. That's not abuse. And like I mentioned before, they don't want to be outed. Um, Whenever it comes to sexuality for any person, whether they are gay, straight, pansexual, it is their choice to tell someone else their gender identity, their sexual identity. We can't take that away from people. And then there might not be programs available for LGBT youth and teens. If there's not programs in the schools, or if there's not programs out in the community, they may feel like that they have no one to turn to. And as I did say before, they may not be comfortable discussing their gender identity or sexuality. And then also social stigmas, that people think that they are a certain way, or that they're just going to assume that everyone thinks of them the way that society and the media has portrayed them for so many years. So these next few slides, they are not just directed towards the LGBTQ plus teen dating violence. It's also can be all teen dating violence, and kind of where it can be hidden and how we should be aware of it. Now, 33% of LGBTQ teens reported cyber dating abuse victimization, um, and about half of that reported actually being, perpetrators of that abuse. Sometimes when people are hidden behind the keyboards of their cell phones or the computers and stuff like that, they have this shield that they can do these things or they can say these things and there's not going to be any repercussions. However, the statement where they say words can't hurt and they can be very traumatizing. So these are some of the applications. We have Facebook, we have Instagram. Instagram is a dual, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. They're all dual applications. They can be used on the phone and they can be used on your computers. So there's always places for messages to be sent, subgroups that can be created, and then sometimes on Instagram, secret groups can actually be created where people are just added to groups where they can be shaming people for their gender identity, or where a partner could be, shaming you for your sexual orientation or gender identity. Now, these applications that I have listed here, these are really important for us as helping agencies, teachers, counselors to really know about. I have them listed. Each picture from left to right matches the list down the side. Now, these are apps such as Discord and stuff like that. Discord's an application, a talking application, and what it is that kids can go in there and they can make subgroups. And if parents don't know about it, their child could be experiencing abuse from their partners. Their partners could have created a group and sending pictures about them to other people. So these are things for you to watch out on. At the end of this, you'll actually see a resource and it'll break down each and every one of these applications to watch out for and kind of be prepared for with our teens. And one of the last things that's damaging to our teens is pop culture. There's that idea that romance is love, and that's kind of like, that your partner is supposed to confess their love to you, that they're supposed to be open and they're supposed to have these extravagant ways of telling you that they love you in public for everyone to see. But in fact, what these teens need is to show those difficult conversations, showing a partner and how we're supporting, how we make compromises, and just being a trustworthy companion, not just someone who is going to go out and shout their loves from the rooftops and stuff like that. And then number two, that sex should be passionate and effortless. It is important to talk about the high levels of sexual transmitted diseases between teens, especially with LGBTQ. A lot of there's that stigma that, well, we don't need to talk about safe sex and stuff like that, especially if it would be a lesbian couple or two men. But it's important. It's important to talk about condoms and boundaries, um, and just teach teens that sex can be awkward and that you need to have those serious conversations and talk about what makes you comfortable and what makes their partner comfortable. Not that force and stuff like that. A lot of children come under the spell of that negativity, especially when porn comes up. We need to be willing to talk to them that, porn is not a real life relationship, and that just to talk about those healthy boundaries and everything. And then number three, drama is romantic. How many of us have watched those shows where they're just the guy or the partner, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm so jealous of that person. I don't want you to talk to them anymore. I'm just being protective. I can't have that." When in fact, we should be talking to our partners, telling them, "Hey, you talking to that other person, it kind of makes me uncomfortable, or maybe you can include me in your conversation so it doesn't feel like there's a lot of secrets going on." And they make relationships out to be like their life or death, and truthfully they're not. You need to have those healthy boundaries um, within your relationship. And then number four, love is all you need, which that's not true. Respect is definitely something that needs to be had in all relationships. You need to expect changes, and that love doesn't fix everything, and that you need to be involved um, with knowing your partner and everything about them and stuff like that. Not necessarily everything. Sometimes there's those personal things about you that it's okay that your partner is uninvolved with, because everyone can have that time. How can we help? Being up to date on text and talk lingo. Parents, teachers, law enforcement, and helping agencies, we need to be up to date on languages from teens. This will help us stay on top of what teens are discussing and be aware of red flags they could be overhearing. Teens may also be more willing to talk if they believe that someone is going to listen and try and understand what they're going through. While I was creating this presentation, I was so shocked by some of the lingo, such as the CU46, which is see you for sex, or WTTP, want to trade pics. Um, all these texts and stuff like that, they're so advanced, and being aware of those things when a kid's walking down the hallway and they're because this can be used while talking. If a kid's walking down the hallway and they're saying these, teachers and stuff like that, we can be aware of that and kind of notice those red flags and let counselors know maybe they can talk to their students and everything. Sorry about that. And how can we help with teen dating violence in the LGBTQ community? Be aware of those red flags. When you notice a teen starting to be more quiet, they're not eating, they want to stay in their room more often, they're showing signs of self harm, starting to wear those long sweaters and stuff like that. You want to make sure that you're talking to your teen, that you're asking them, um, how they are. And that's really, I think we've kind of separated ourselves at times by just talking to our teens. Creating inclusive curriculums. This will help teens feel more comfortable about who they are. Whenever we have, curriculums that are just designated towards heterosexual couples or heterosexual individuals, um, a teen may not feel comfortable talking about who they are and what they're experiencing and everything. And then in our offices, having that LGBTQ plus material, having those pamphlets out, um, and just making it a more welcoming environment. And then dispel misinformation within the facilities. Um, Such as me as an advocate, if I would hear other advocates saying information that would not be correct about the LGBTQ community, stepping in and saying like, hey, like that's actually not correct, or things have changed, lingo has changed. Um, you don't want kids to hear that. You don't want teens to hear that. And not just that, you want your staff to be informed. You want these kids to feel like they are supported and when they go to school and they don't feel left out, and create that safe place, not just for LGBTQ plus kids, but for all teens. You want they're our future, and we want to make sure that every person that we come in contact with feels supported and that they have someone that wants to listen to them. And then create policies and programs that are inclusive to not just the teens, but also the staff. Whenever if you're working with children, you want to make sure that there's policies in place um, that are inclusive with language and stuff like that, using different pronouns, not just she and her, but they, them, there, all those different pronouns that could be available, which I do also provide a list of pronouns and everything. Sometimes people have a lot of questions about pronouns, which I understand completely. They're always changing, and it's definitely something we need to stay up on. And then that is actually my presentation, everyone. I do want to let you all know that today at 3:30, Thad and me from Victim Services, we're actually going to be going over to the Teen Center. This is open for the teens in all of Blair County. We will be practicing social distancing and everything, but we're going to talk about healthy relationships. We're going to dive into those healthy relationships for teens, and then we're also going to reward them with some pizza afterwards. So if you have any teens, any of the kids that went back to school at the high school, junior high, 12 to 17 are more than welcome to come. We just ask that they have a mask, and we're going to do all that we possibly can to bring awareness to teen dating violence and talk about healthy relationships.
Awesome. Hey, thank you very much, Brittany. Thank you, thank you. Before everybody goes, hopefully you can all see my screen. So I just wanted to, well, of course, remind everybody about our FSI Victim Services helpline, 814-944-3585. If you know of anyone who is going through teen dating violence, and specifically today in the LGBTQ plus community, please give them our resource. They can now text us 24/7 on that local number as well. Also, you can find the Family Services Incorporated Victim Services Program on Instagram. And I heard Brittany mention this earlier. You can also find us on YouTube. So all of these programs, our Webinar Wednesdays, as well as other programs that we do, you will be able to find on YouTube, as well as our go-to-stage. Of course, the links I can throw in the chat as well. Just want to make sure everyone knows the schedule. So we do have more Webinar Wednesdays coming up in March. We have Celebrating Women's History Month, a focus on the domestic violence movement in Pennsylvania, which is March 10th. And then March 24th, we have Understanding Pronouns, a beginner's guide to the LGBTQ plus community. And then in April, it will be Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we have a ton of different things planned for SAM. So make sure you guys are staying tuned to our social media and check your email. We have a ton of different things planned for April. We will once again move to weekly Webinar Wednesdays in April, starting April 7th with Why Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month. The next week, we will have Consent 101. April 21st, we have Victimization in Minority Communities. And to end the month, we will have Sexual Assault in the LGBTQ plus communities. As always, our contact information is available. Please like us on Facebook as well as Instagram. And of course, please like us on YouTube. Thank you all very much for your time. Brittany, thank you very much for your time. Once again, the handout is in the handout section. All of her resources and information is available there. Thank you all for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.